right here in Mount Kenya University, Thika. An interesting session even as the world commemorates International Day for Condoms. A very, very important day, a very, very important conversation that we've held with the students out here. And we are on this last laps where we now get to the town hall session, equally instrumental towards us continuing this conversation. And of course, delighted to have you joining us this very evening. Remember, this broadcast is live on TV 47. And shortly, we get to a very, very important conversation. We'll be chewing, say, an hour and a half of your time, but indeed, it will be worth a conversation. It's good to have you this evening. The students all set and on standby for a town hall session, and equally specialists that will be joining me for this very, very important conversation, so that as well, with their knowledge, we can get to enlighten the students and you who's watching us back at home. My name is Linda Alela, the town hall session right here in Mount Kenya University, where we're going to talk about the International Day of Condoms. And very strategic that this day was set on, like a day to Valentine's Day. I don't know whether it will be too early to tell everybody happy Valentine's. And yes, as we get to this very, very conversation, perhaps the panelists, happy Valentine's. And as though others have gotten the memo, you can clearly tell that they are in regalia. It's an honor to have you this evening as we get into this very conversation that is all about just getting to enlighten our youth on how they engage safe. For that very matter, safe sex is very, very important. And as they would say, the theme right here in the country is that safe sex should be fun and is fun with condom, as you can evidently see. So even as we engage, we hope that we are all keen to make sure that it's a safe environment for us. This to make sure that we curb unwanted, pregnancies. This to make sure that we also do not get ourselves engaging and, running away or going away with infections that are not necessary. So joining me for this very important conversation as we walk the students through this is right next to me, none other than the CEO. We've been waiting for her, Dr. Ruth Liborn, commonly known as Marsha, the CEO, National Syndemic Disease Control Council. It's an honor to have you this evening, Madam. And right next to the CEO is Josephat Minor, who is the Sub-County AIDS Coordinator right here in Thika. Thank you so much for creating time. Right next to Josephat is none other than Doreen Mora, a digital content creator. You all should be knowing her. Good job that you're doing right there. Doreen, thank you so much as well. We have Dr. Samuel Kinyanjui, who's the country director of AHF, that is AIDS Healthcare Foundation. And lastly, Margaret Wanyoro, the President's Youth Advisory Champions for Health. It's an honor to have you this evening as well. And so as we get to engage on a very, very important conversation, perhaps 30 seconds for you to, just enlighten us on what the numerous institutions that you come from or hail from then do. Madam CEO. Should we go on, yeah? Okay.
So I think I would just begin by saying that we, at the national level, as an institution that was put in place many years ago, 1994, with the aim of helping the country to manage the HIV response, and particularly, one, mobilize the resources. We require around 25 billion every year just to buy commodities, so we require an agency that can mobilize those resources. And secondly, we do write the strategies and the policies for the country on how to manage the disease. And lastly, not the least, among others, is we try to bring all sectors together, including education sector and other areas such as youth, sports, and agriculture, just to bring people together to address the disease. And finally, we also do public education, like what you're doing today, and we try to educate the young people and all citizens about HIV, both for prevention and management.
All right, Josephat.
Thank you. I'd like to start by saying karibu, specifically to Madam CEO. Welcome to Thika. So for me, I'm a devolved function of the NSDCC, and our main role is community-based HIV prevention. So what we do is distribution of HIV prevention commodities. We also do technical support to community-based organizations that are responding to HIV. And we also do reports in terms of what is happening at the community level so that we can cascade that information upwards for purposes of policy and guidelines that are necessary at the community level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Doreen Moracha is my name. I am the host of Maisha Health Digital, one-stop shop for all matters health for young people. So we create content on sexual reproductive health and rights, HIV, and everything health related. I am also living with HIV. I was born with HIV, so I'm living with HIV publicly. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr.
So thank you very much. My name is Dr. Kinyanjui Samuel, Country Director, AIDS Healthcare Foundation. So AIDS Healthcare Foundation is an international NGO working in 44 countries globally, now supporting about...
Should have the yes.
Sorry about that. So we're working in about 44 countries globally, but in Kenya we are working in 10 counties, supporting about close to 85,000 persons living with HIV. So HF as an organization covers the whole range of HIV care from prevention to where condoms falls in as a prevention mechanism, to empowering young people through our mentorship programs, starting with the Girls Act. We also have a program for young boys, we call it Boys to Men, and then we also have special programs for the youth in college and also youth out of college, where we talk about matters hustle. How do we empower the young people so that they do not become vulnerable? In addition to that, those who are affected, we offer testing, counseling, linkage to care, but also even for groups who are living with HIV, we also talk on matters on how to improve their, how they can generate income for themselves. All this is included under the HF banner. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Linda. My name is Margaret Wanyoro. I am the president with Advisory Council for Health, YACH, Kiambu County. These are youth-led organization that focuses on matters to do with young people's health. We majorly focus on HIV prevention among adolescents and young people, sexual reproductive health, sexual gender-based violence, and mental health issues. And basically for us, the major reason as to why we are in this is because young people happen to be the bigger population that is highly affected by these issues. And so we keep on saying that there is nothing for us without us. So as everyone else is doing this, we also come in to actually bring into light what is happening to us as young people.
Well put. Thank you so much. And as earlier mentioned, we are at the Mwai Kibaki Conventional Center right here in Mount Kenya University. That should tell you that the youth are at the heart of this very conversation that we're having this evening. And therefore, the audience is largely about the youth population. And most importantly, acknowledgement of Joash Onsari, who's my core driver, and will be sitting on the other side for questions from that very end. And I think, like I've said, time is not on our side. So we will go straight to addressing 2-3 questions that are of importance for us to understand. I know it's been an engaging day, a fun-filled day, but what's important is what we pick home, what we take home, or what we take back to our hostels, you know, after all said and done. And I'll start off by getting ourselves into this very conversation by asking questions to the ladies and gentlemen that I have on set, and I think it will be generally about the importance of condom. Dr. Kinyanjui, this goes to you very fast. We're talking about just how important it is for us to focus on making sure that the adolescents and the young people are the priority population towards eliminating the 3 threats that we all understand, or the triple threat, that is teenage pregnancies, new HIV infections, and sexual gender-based violence. Just what is the significance of this very day, and knowing very well that we have a shortage of condoms in the country?
So thank you very much. The think you've asked that aptly because I forgot two things to mention. One is that AHF is very strong on advocacy. We pride ourselves as standing and leading a voice to the voiceless. And some of the things you've mentioned there requires that there is a strong voice. Yeah. One of them is about this very day. International Condom Day was actually initiated and popularized by AHF Global, just to bring to the attention the benefits of condom as a triple shield. A shield against unplanned pregnancy, a shield against sexually transmitted infection, and a shield against new HIV infection. You've asked about why we talk about the triple threat. I think right now our biggest problem about this triple threat is that particularly teenage pregnancy, they destroy the future of young people, particularly young girls, take them away from their education, remove them from the path to their dream, and sometimes they end up in the bin of poverty when they are trying to run away from. This is something that we must push back against and fight against. We know the future of any population is dependent on the women and girls, because that is even the reason why in war, women and girls are not combatants, they are not fought, they are not killed, because otherwise we would be eliminating the humanity. Number two, when it comes to gender-based violence, is very much related to the same issues of lack of empowerment, that one gender feels is a power struggle, feels that it has a right to push things instead of negotiating. The risk is because they may be forced even to unsafe sex that can take them down either with an unplanned pregnancy, with the STIs, or even infection, and sometimes premature, besides the harm, but even premature deaths. Wow. I'm sure in this country we remember many who have been maimed, losing limbs, and even being killed. So AHF stands very, very strongly against SGBV, the issue of teenage pregnancy, and also new infection. We cannot win the war against HIV without closing the taps. If this room was leaking with water, if we don't close the leaking taps, it doesn't matter how hard we try to mop, we will never get this room dry. We must close the taps. Thank you.
Dr. Libon here, we have really made great strides to acknowledge that we have tried so much so to close the taps in our very own country, that is with most indicators recording a positive trajectory. However, we have to acknowledge that some of these cases, there's been an increase in HIV or new HIV infections, especially between the age of 15 and 29. That's largely within the youth bracket. So we ask ourselves what really could be informing this, and just however, how much can we make sure that at least there's quick prevention aspects where we can try and limit this spread, especially within ourselves, within the young ones?
Thank you very much. Let me just address the young people, especially in this congregation, because when you speak about HIV, most of these young people here have never seen the face of AIDS. And so they hear stories, just like the stories used to be told by our grandmothers, that there was a disease. So the one thing then that has happened is that there's a lot of complacency. Complacency in a style that is really self-defeating. You'll find that majority of the young people will tell you, for example, they fear pregnancy more than they fear to get HIV because they shall swallow the ARVs. And I'm so glad that we have Doreen here who can share with them some of the real life challenges. So the biggest challenge you have is complacency. And complacency then stops people or stops young people from becoming active agents of themselves. So the one thing we must do, given the statistics that we are seeing, especially for the ages of 15 to 24, when you have more than 11,000 or 11,600 infections occurring among this age group, you have a big problem as a country. You've made progress, yes, but the more you keep getting, young people getting infected with HIV, it means that then you put them into treatment for longer years. We are beginning to talk to young people and saying that there are challenges of aging with HIV, for example. And a lot of those challenges are being seen now because those people who got HIV in their early years, who have been on antiretroviral medicines, we have a large cohort that now is moving to older age. And what are we seeing? We are seeing that they then get, in addition to HIV, of course, one other disease for women and girls is cervical cancer, which is also as a result of human papilloma virus. Then we start beginning to see people with comorbid relations, which is maybe diabetes and HIV, high blood pressure and HIV. So we are trying to say that, well, if you get HIV, we want you to be on treatment, we want you to live a normal life. We don't want to stigmatize. But if you don't have HIV, then don't look for it. You don't go around looking for it and hoping there is something you can do. And one of the things we keep saying, the first step for young people is abstinence. You know, it's a high time we need to start saying abstinence is cool. Then the second thing for those who are not abstaining, if you have made a choice that you are going to have sex, it's not something that you don't plan for. You decided, I'm going to have sex, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend, and I'm planning to have sex. And that's when you come to where Daktari is coming from here. That in that case then, we only have one single tool. And actually it is the only single. Most people don't even know how old a condom is. No. It is as old as the days of civilization. It was actually, the first condom was made from animal sheath. You know, the intestines, the mutura kind of. Yeah, but the old guys, when they were trying to figure out how do we stop reproduction, how do we have babies when we want to have. So they were trying to really look at how to even protect. But also, there was a disease, Daktari. There was a disease that said that, I think it was syphilis or gonorrhea, that was affecting and it was affecting the pallies, and they began to think, what do we do to protect? So condom is a very old tool, but also the most effective, because it protects against three things. It can protect against diseases that are not just HIV, sexually transmitted infections. It protects against pregnancy that you do not want, and also HIV. So in an essence, what I'm trying to say is that we are trying to build the agency. Building an agency means that you're doing something, you know the consequences. We want to stop telling young people that HIV is just okay. It's not okay. It is only okay when there's nothing you can do about it, when it's in your body.
Perhaps it will make more sense, Madam CEO, if they get to hear this from Doreen, that it is not okay. Doreen looks all beautiful and all figured out. So how can you convince this youth that it is not okay, that, you know, in all this, in the fact that they have to engage, it is very, very important that they protect themselves?
Thank you so much. And as much as I champion against stigma, I also don't want other people to get HIV.
Yes.
This is because HIV, you take medication for life. You know, a lot of people say, I would rather be HIV positive than have a child. A child comes out after 9 months. After a few years, they're grown, they're gone. You take ARVs every day. It doesn't go away. You can wish it away, but that is just you exposing yourself to more issues. So it is a for life thing. There is no going back, but it's preventable. So why not prevent it before you come on this other side where now you have to be forced to take medication every day because you don't have a choice with that. You will face stigma because whether we like it or not, HIV has been here with us for 40 plus years, but stigma is so real. There are people still judging people living with HIV from how they look, from a promiscuity point of view. So the misconceptions, the myths, they're still real. So you cannot just ignore that just because HIV has been normalized, then it's okay to live the way you want to live. I always tell young people, if you're HIV negative, stay negative. because there are ways to staying negative. You can condomize, you can use PrEP, you can use PEP, but stay negative at all costs. I am saving you a lifetime of stigma. I am saving you a lifetime of taking treatment every day.
And that's a very important perspective. But in all this, even after people are being told, even after it is said left, right, and center, there's still a perception. We still are getting these numbers on the rise, that 15 to 29 within this age group, the numbers continue to shoot up. Perhaps to ask this to you, Josephat, what really could be informing this bit of perception? Do we have that aspect of, say, exclusion that would get the youth, all the same, and by and large ignoring some of these very important key points?
Thank you. I would say that for quite some time, the youth have been excluded in HIV programming, and specifically on the design. But for a few years, that has changed. And I want to thank Madam CEO here because, like, for example, because I think giving examples is what will bring this out properly. Like, for example, the venue for today's activity, it is targeting the youth. We have programs that we know are being designed based on the knowledge and information that the youth are sharing with us. So when you look at youth focused activities, you'll find, like, when you come to our CCCs, we have peer educators who are young people living with HIV. Yeah. So basically, they are going to come to the facility and meet other young people. So peer support networks at the community level, specifically for the young people, is something that is happening. And we have a few policies that are also addressing the issue of exclusion, so that we have ways that are well standardized for us to be able to engage with the youth as we design and even implement our programs.
All right, so let's come to you, Maggie, and I'm glad that you speak to the youth as one of them. It's very, very important that we acknowledge that there's engagement. That is a fact. In as much as we say, well, use protection, in as much as we say abstinence is cool, there is that engagement in our institutions and across. The worst of it all is that we do not see, the young people keen. They have dropped the guard in the name of I trust my partner, and that you cannot rule out. Some of them have said it's very important that perhaps you get family planning. That will stop you from getting pregnant early enough. But then again, well, the diseases, the infections, really not a big deal. What informs this? And do you suppose that this aspect of dropping the guard and, this aspect of trust is coming, in the way of health relationships or healthy relationships?
Thank you, Linda. And it's true that young people, we've really been engaged, actually more than ever before. And we can actually, the fact that our audience is full of young people, 90% is young people. And the fact that I'm also in a youth-led organization, which basically means that I meet a lot of young people out here who are in this space. And when you talk of young people dropping the guard, when you talk of HIV prevention, I think it's because most of the times we forget that when you talk of HIV prevention, it's so personal, it's a personal issue. But then we make it communal. And when we make it communal or between two people, that's where we start dropping the guard. And this comes in also especially, let's look at the issue of trust and societal expectation. And I look at, for example, the dating scene in today's world. And you look at it that the society expects that if I'm dating exclusively, basically what should be guiding I and my partner is faithfulness and trust. So what does that mean? It means that we can actually do anything sexual without actually considering issues to do with HIV and STIs. The only thing that will be ringing in our mind is the issues of pregnancy. And again, as you said, we fear pregnancy more than we fear HIV and STDs. But then getting back to the issue of the dating scene, you realize that we are having a chain of dating, of partners that we are dating. And so as much as I trust my partner, the question is he actually trusting the other partners he has? Or am I also trusting the other partners that I have? And what are they doing to protect me from getting all these infections. So it's true, we are meaningfully engaged, but until we take the issue of HIV prevention as a personal issue, then we'll always have issues to do with more infections every now and then.
Dr. Kenyajui agrees with me that there's a shortage of condoms in the country. Doc, this does not come to you, it goes to Doreen. Why is it that we do not find it so common that women would want to purchase condoms, would want to walk around with condoms, and even worse, they find it difficult to negotiate for safe sex? Oh, you want to take that, Dr. not Doreen? All right, fair enough.
Yes, but I can see she's raring to go because she wanted to follow on something here.
All right, fair.
With your permission.
That's okay.
So I wanted to follow up on what Maggie has said. So today we were talking to some young people, and we asked them abstinence, being faithful, and using a condom. Which one is your prevention method of choice? And a few of them say being faithful. So I asked them, what is your partner faithful? They're like, I don't know if my partner is faithful, but I am faithful. And if I get to with another partner, now the other partner I'm using protection, but with this particular one, I'm not using protection. So much the trust issue really is between these two people. So after they leave each other, then there is not trust with the others. But when they come back together, they're trusting. The thing is, does the other one now do the same? So that is a question we do not have an answer to. So as much as we want to ensure that we are trusting our partners and being faithful to them, it should be a two-way traffic, because we also followed up with who should buy condoms in our relationship, and some said the female, some said the male, some said both of them. But most of them, really, the responsibility lied with the girl, with the boy child. And then the girl child be asking, so it's not your responsibility to buy condoms. And they're like, but no, the man should just come with them. Which means if the man does not have condoms, then the protection aspect is lost in that particular point. So this, as Maggie says, this being faith, or rather HIV prevention, is a personal choice. So until you choose that I am actually going to prevent and protect myself, then it means that you are always open to the door of STIs, super G squeeze and HIV and planned pregnancy.
Maybe I'll take it away from you, Dr. and ask the CEO here, because she's a woman, that in as much as it's a personal choice, there's always that fear that you don't want to make your husband, mad at you. You don't want to make your boyfriend mad at you. You don't want them to look at you as though you think they are not faithful and all that. And so there's always that fear to negotiate for safe sex. And most of the time you find that it's a woman who's bearing the brunt, even if it's not about, even on the aspect of protection, it is them to take pills, it is them to take implants, as opposed to the other way. Why is it so hard for the girl child to speak and say that, this is safe, why don't you go this way?
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question, I just want to remind ourselves that actually, in most of these countries in sub-Saharan Africa, like Kenya, HIV is primarily driven by men. Because we see when you do studies called phylogenetics, you find that for one man, you can get around 5 women they have infected, 5 to 7. So the challenge then comes therein that since one man, if he has multiple partners, he's able to infect so many women as compared to vice versa. The women are also socialized that even initiating sex is a problem. So if you can't initiate sex, then you can't also initiate the discussion about safer sex. And that's where the challenge comes, because sometimes when women initiate sex, then the man runs away, because he is supposed to is socialized differently. But it is because of that really a big challenge women and girls have, that even for older women like us, you find that the discussion about condoms is very murky within the relationship. For younger people like the ones that are in this room, it is what Doreen is saying. There is one boy or young man who is a boyfriend in the hostel. There's another one outside, and there's another one and another one. But the question then to this person, the woman who is probably having the partners, or the man who is having the multiple partners, is that it's left to the man to decide about the safety issue. Yeah. And that's why we are coming out, and I'm really glad that Margaret is here, where we are saying we want to teach the women and girls that actually you can negotiate for safer sex. Interesting, we also have most of these young people who have multiple partners, but they still, or what they call serial monogamy. Serial monogamy is where you have a partner today, then you finish with that partner. 2 months down the road, you get another one. They could be your partner for 2 months, 3 weeks, but within a year, you have like 7 to 10 partners. But when you ask that person, they will tell you what Doreen is saying. They want to be faithful to one person. But there were 7 people. Within that year, you were trying to be faithful too. And that's where the challenge lies when you try to use things like trusts. Like, for example, I have seen so many young people saying, lakini tulipi moyo siku tukakuwa negative. You know, the negative status is a status for the time you've been given the test. But what most young people don't know is that somebody who is newly infected with HIV is likely to transmit it to somebody other than, as compared to the other person who has had HIV and they're on treatment for a long period of time. And that's the science. So when you say that we tested last year, we were both negative, and then you're seeing your partner with multiple partners, and you still want to maintain the results you were given last year, then it doesn't apply. Yeah. And that is really the big issue. Okay. So we have to go back to conversations like this that are deep, that we are not talking at young people. They are talking with us. They are following the story. They are asking the right questions. And they're also getting the right answers.
Well put. This year's theme, the international theme, is yours, mine, and ours, as we talk about International Condom Day. I'll ask my colleague Unsari to be on standby on the other side, because we're talking to the youth. It's very, very important we get their views and their questions. So please try and engage them, get to know who could be having a question. And of course, once we get an answer to the next question from Daktari, we'll be going back to the audience. We'll be coming to the audience for their questions. So Daktari, even with this theme, even with this aspect of advocating for more condoms in the country, not necessarily from the government to have stakeholders coming on board, just what is the guarantee that anyway we're going to put them to use?
Now, thank you for this opportunity, especially following up after Dr. Marsha. An empowered young person takes care of themselves. And as a lady, the measure of empowerment you have is the ability to negotiate for sex and to take care of yourself. Unfortunately, our society does not bring us in that situation. We know we are in a patriarchal society where the man takes leadership in everything. But it is time for you to stand out knowing that the best thing you can do for yourself, for your partner, is make sure that this engagement you're getting to is safe. Now, I wanted to talk about the issue of condom availability. When we look at, we all know about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs and things like that. But generally, I just want to give you a very quick model of the very high end where they can afford. You can buy it even at 10,000 if the condom is that much. They don't care. But there is a middle ground, and majority of us here, including yourself, you've come to this great institution, you can afford a condom. It makes a huge difference in your life. But there are the people in very difficult situations, they may not be able to afford condoms. That's where the free for distribution comes in. Please, let's not lower our dignity, our standards to that low. I don't know how many ladies would appreciate you as a young man when you come to them. Tomorrow is Valentine. And all you're trying to do, like King of Condom was saying, is go to the loo and come bending like this because you don't want them to see the kind of condom you have. Tulisema ni mali safi. She's premium. You should also use premium stuff.
On them, yes?
Yeah, on them. That's showing some respect.
Yeah.
Yes. Also,
at least you want to maintain this premiumness.
Yes, you also want to maintain even yourself.
Yeah.
So, sacrifice, ensure you have condom. Make sure you have real stuff that you don't mind. You can show them around. You don't mind even if they fall in public. Okay.
Well, interesting, Daktari. I want to take it from you.
So this way, it means that the government can reserve the free for distribution for the truly less privileged. This way, we can be able to afford for everyone. Do this for yourself. Do this for your super. The next thing I want to say, even when we go to negotiation for dowry, I tell young people, don't over-negotiate your dowry, because that is a reflection of what this lady means to you. So when you're going with this cheap stuff, this is a reflection you're showing to the lady. And ladies, stand up for yourself. This cheap stuff I don't like. and you have a voice to transform this conversation. You have a voice, believe me. Thank you.
Daktari, thank you so much. Whichever flavor you'd want, you go for the best, it's up to you. But like Daktari would say, it's important that you negotiate for the best. Joash and Sari, I could please take the mic, across the audience so we also get to have their views, if not questions to the ladies and gentlemen that we have on set. I think it's their moment to ask all the questions that they would have for them to get answers. 2-3 questions before then Margaret as well as Josephat would respond to the same.
Shukran sana. Subiri sauti. 1 2. Shukran sana Linda kwa mahojiano hayo, wasemaji wote pia shukran. Tumeweza kujifunza mengi, mimi binafsi kwa sababu pia mimi ni kijana na nimesikia mali safi. Kuna wale mabinti tunawaita vichuna na vijana nao tunawaita watanashati, sio? Sasa moja kwa moja tuweze kupata maswali, na ningependa nipate jinsia ya kiume na vile vile jinsia ya kike. Nimeona bingwa pale akainua mkono. Moja kwa moja tusikie swali lako. Tuambie jina lako na vile vile swali lako ni lipi.
Kwa majina naitwa Henry. Swali yangu ni, kwa mfano umeweza kununua condom. Umenunua condom shilingi 150 ukapatia msichana. Akapoteza ama akapatia kijana mwenzake. Mwingine tena akapata condom free of charge akapatia msichana. Msichana pia akapea mwenzake. Nani amepoteza ama nani amepoteza ama hajapoteza?
Asante sana kwa swali lako. Mwingine binti, naona kaka mnainua mikono kweli kweli. Acha nipate huyu alafu nipate binti.
Yeah, Amaloli. A question to Daktari. We are told that condoms distributed at public hospitals are fake. How true is that? I've heard you talk about premium and less privilege. Are you comparing condoms? Are you telling us to avoid some? The last one, how do you address issues with people that are allergic to latex, which is the major material used for condom production? Thank you.
Asante sana. Tupate binti. Mabinti amsemi jamani. Nimemwona pale. Utatuambia jina lako na vile vile uelekeze swali lako kule mbele, wasemaji watajibu.
I'm Faith Kagendo. My question is, what's your take on condom distribution on villages? Yeah, an example, if today I may go to our village to distribute condoms on youths or to youths, like their parents will be like, this is immoral. So what can you do like in these areas? Yeah.
Asante sana. Nipate upande huu kwa sababu nimekuwa upande huu sana. Sijui Cha tupatie ubingwa, tuambie jina lako na vile vile swali lako.
Naam, good evening.
Good evening.
This is Ahmed, MKU Student Association President. My question is, can we have this maybe discussion? Have you ever tried to tackle this matter in this scenario whereby we campaign, we sensitize the youths and the nation are having one solution, that is abstaining. Now that we normally focus with the point whereby youth have indulged themselves into this particular activity, that is sexual intercourse, and more so the university, because the university are the institution whereby they normally have a huge number of youths. Have you ever considered carrying on such a campaign that is sensitizing youths from abstaining? Because I believe we have cultures, I believe we have, we believe in various religions, and gone are the days when I believe we used to chase ladies maybe 10 years down the line for them to accept our proposals. So can we have this talk instead of going to that direction of protection and so on? Can we come with a policy whereby, with a mechanism whereby we can sensitize
Abstinence.
Yeah.
All right. Msari naomba ni kukate kwa sababu ya muda. Tujibu maswali mangapi hayo? Tatu nafikiri. Kama tatu hivi. Matano hapo. Kwa hiyo na mengine yanakwenda direct kwa mtu fulani. Kwa mfano nafikiri hapa CEO ana swali lake, daktari pia atakuwa na swali lake. Lakini mawili nitahitaji Josephat na Margaret pia wayachukue. Kwa hiyo tutaanza na kwako ambayo wanazungumzia about the aspect of, should be about time? Yes.
Thank you very much. As Daktari comes to answer about condoms, the one who was asking whose cost. The cost of the free-to-user condoms is your cost. Kwa bajeti, it cost us about 7 billion Kenya shillings to buy the condoms you see us distributing, the so-called free-to-user. Hiyo sio pesa ya Masha, sio pesa ya daktari, ni pesa yenu, si ndio? Kwa hivyo hata kama inasikia ni free-to-user, it is part of our taxes. That's one of the things that we need to remember. Secondly, I think somebody has asked, why then don't we convert and just do abstinence-only programs? How I wish that is our solution, would be very, very happy. Na naona wengine wenu wakicheka, tungefurahia sana tusikie Mount Kenya leo imefanya declaration na mmesema there is no more sex na kila mtu ata-abstain. Si inawezekana? It's a very good strategy. But in reality, however, we also don't close our eyes, because tukiwauliza maswali pia sisi tunaona mnasema mnafanya ngono. Tukiangalia ile study imekuja juzi, tunasema ulifanya ngono, umemtumia mpira, wa mama ni wachache wale wamemtumia mpira, wengine ni wale wajatumia. So that is why we present choices. And for young people unmarried, of course, the 100% choice that gives you no nightmares is abstinence. It's actually safest. Hawezi hata kuwa hapo ukisikia hizi maneno. But I also want to remind us, a point Doreen said, that there are also those who are born with HIV. They are amongst you. So when we do abstinence messages, we also remind ourselves, kuna wale walipata HIV kupitia mama zao, na saizi wako mashule kama hapa, wako ndani hapa. So we also remember them, because we know that even if they abstain, they still have HIV, and there's nothing they can do. The only thing we can do is to put them on treatment.
There's this question on how to